But Indu, can you just tell us, obviously Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, there may be some similarities in some sense with some things, but can you tell us, like, what are some of the cultural differences that you've encountered, and has any surprised you?
More than just cultural differences, like let's just look at the differences and the similarities. I would say that to a very large extent, Saudi Arabia is like northern Nigeria. So I lived in Kano, Nigeria in 2014 to 2015, and I lived in Katsina in 2000 from 2015 till 2016. So I can really tell you that Kano is more Saudi Arabia is more or less like northern Nigeria. The religion, the culture, they have a lot of similarities. Even the weather, the everything just seems really beautiful. Like they seem the same. They seem. The first time I got to Saudi Arabia, I had to live in a place called Sehat, very close to Dammam, and Sehat looked so much like Abuja. You can be in Sehat and you think that you're in Abuja, with the only difference being that Saudi Arabia looks a little more organized, just much more organized than Abuja is, much more organized than northern Nigeria is. But as per culture, as per practices, as per everything else, Saudi Arabia is more or less like northern Nigeria. Um, the weather, the kind of houses they build, the way the streets are, and everything, maybe a little much more organized, but it looks more or less like northern Nigeria. I can tell you that for free. And also, we one other thing that surprised me here is the fact that in Saudi Arabia, the private sector, like private businesses, like offices, have this break in the middle of the day. You go to work. Okay, we work. Most of the organizations work 8 hours a day. Like you have 8 hours shift, but we can do 2 hours in the morning and 6 hours in the night. So between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m., many offices may be closed, except for maybe banks and government parastatals. But we, every other private sector business will have to have that break where they are closed. You see, shops are shut, except for maybe shops that have kind of shift, but most businesses will be closed within that time. And it's not just a culture like a practice. There are government laws. There is a government law that forbids anyone from working under direct sun, because the sun is usually very heavy, and you can have UV index of 8 and above, up to 13 sometimes. So between between June and September, there is actually a government law that prohibits anyone working under the sun. Like if your staff should report that you made him to work under the sun, between this time, you may be charged heavy fines, and really your organization will be penalized. So with that in view, you get to see that even apart from work, the people don't come out in the afternoon because the sun is usually very much, except it's really very necessary. Most people are indoors in the afternoon because of the sun. That makes nightlife a different kind of life altogether. So we are out there in the mornings before the sun is heavily out, and we are back to work in the evening. So in the evening, we have to work up to 10 p.m. At 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 12 a.m., you may still see people outside. You may still see that the town is beautiful. People are going about their businesses. Offices are still getting patronage. We have some bit of nightlife to compensate for the midday when there is little business. And I think that has to do with the sun. I had to come to that notion that it has to do with the sun because of the government law that prohibits people from working under the sun, the direct sunlight between June and September. I think June 15 to September 15. You don't have any business putting out anybody to work under the sun for you. So also it affects other businesses. Like we can't open at those times. For me, that's not what we are used to. We are used to going to work in the morning, coming back in the evening. Now you are being told that you're going to work 2 hours in the morning, then you go home, sleep, have your rest, and come back in the evening to do 6 hours. Mm, it looks beautiful because you have a time to rest between the times, but also some persons would like to just do their shift and know that okay, I'm done for the day. That's a change that we had to adjust to. I had to adjust to. Then also getting to see that in Nigeria we have our week running from Friday, from Monday till our weekdays running from Monday till Friday. Then we have weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But here we have our weekdays running from Sunday till Thursday. Then we have weekends on Friday and Saturday. So sometimes on Sunday, I don't even know it's Sunday. Until like maybe I go to Facebook and I see people posting happy Sunday. I say, oh, today is Sunday. You can actually just lose track of what day of the week. Because Friday will look like a Sunday. And a Sunday will be looking like a Monday. So that's also an adjustment that we have to make in our heads. Sometimes you just have to check your calendar to track what day of the week we are in. Because from where then what's the items in this place. Yeah. I'll also say that the Saudi Arabia generally, not just the Saudis, the community here seem to be more, should I say, more traditionally bound together, like just like what we have back home.
Right.
Even though I don't know, would I say everybody seems distant? Everybody appears to be distant, but still there are some cultural values that are still there, and people look out for each other. And Saudi feels like one of the safest places to be in the world. Really. I feel safe. I feel safer here than in Port Harcourt. I can tell you that anytime, any day. And I've spoken with, I don't think there is anybody living here who is not a Saudi who has told me that they feel safer in their home country in Saudi Arabia. Out with Americans, Europeans, and everyone feels safer here. Like you can literally just leave everything you have outside and be sure that it's going to come back. It's going to be there by the time you come back. A friend of mine had an experience where he had come back home and he forgot his wallet, his mobile phone on his car, and went in. After some hours, he had to remember that he's not with his phone. By the time he went out, a police car was parked close to his car, and they had seen that there and were waiting for him to come out.
Wow.
They didn't go anywhere. When he came to pick it up, they told him that they had been waiting for him. They had to confirm that they are his, and he just took them, and no one bothered him. He just needed to confirm that they are his, and you feel really safe. You feel really safe moving around. You feel really safe with your possessions. You don't feel afraid. And something happened recently. We were a bit negligent with our child, Asha. So Asha left the house. Asha left home without our knowledge, and we couldn't find Asha. He had opened the door and he has left. By the time we started looking for him, we didn't know where he was. We were just driving around the neighborhood trying to see if we could find him, and we're not making progress until suddenly we were driving past and we saw a bicycle. A bike was just passing us. I looked and I saw my son on that bike. I had to park, tell his mom, who went to get him, and we saw that someone had seen him and picked him up, put him on that bicycle, and was driving around just in case he may see his parents. Someone had done that. Yeah,
Wow.
he could not understand English. Asha could not understand Arabic,
Right.
so they couldn't communicate. But he knew, and the guy happens to be a Sudanese. So I guess he's black. He has another black child. Maybe he's thinking this child will be an African, maybe a Sudanese, and he just wanted to look out for him.
Wow. That's
That
amazing.
was really beautiful, and he refused to accept any kind of any kind of payment, or he said no, that he's fine. He just felt he should help out,
Yeah.
and yeah, we were very grateful.
Mm.
We're just really very grateful.
Yeah.
And it's not just that single experience. I think people in Saudi Arabia kind of look out. I'm not saying everything in Saudi Arabia is perfect, but
Right.
to a very great extent. And when it comes to feeling safe, feeling safe, I think Saudi Arabia is the safest place in the world. I've not been to everywhere in the world, but I
Right.
can just